Hello, assalamu alaikum everybody. Good morning and welcome to the breakfast show with me and Anoushey. We're here on City FM 89. How's everybody doing? Thursday morning. Hope everybody's feeling good and having a nice morning. I'm in Turkey at the moment. There is amazing weather going on and it got a little hot yesterday. The clouds have come out today. So I'm like a bit of a happy bunny. I just love the sun, I've realized. Not too much of it, but enough of it. I love it. And I'm just getting prepped to come back home soon, but also quite excited because I've gotten a lot of work done. I had some really important work and feeling accomplished, doing the things you need to do. It really does feel good, right? And let's discuss so many things that are happening under the sun and all around us. A lot of terrible news coming out of Pakistan, and when you leave the country, it kind of somehow just feels worse. Been following a lot of stories, but looking forward to catching up with you guys, doing a show that uplifts everybody's souls, because that's the need of the hour. So let's stick together till 10 a.m., you and I, and let's have some fun. Let's begin the show with some music. I will be back on air right after. I was just reading the news first thing in the morning and I was like, maybe there's something positive to share with people. But not really. I was just reading a story of a person who lost his father when he was really very, very young and then had to take over taking care of the family business, the household. Basically, sometimes tragic and terrible things happen in your life and then you need to take over and become an adult. You lose your childhood. You've not been given enough time to enjoy your childhood. And when you lose your childhood, there's some hidden signs that are very obvious to tell that this is the person who lost their childhood very, very quickly. They had to take on responsibility and life wasn't as fair as it should have been. If you've never felt like you truly grew up in an environment where it allowed you to be a child for very long, even if you're doing grown-up things all the time now, you still feel like a kid in an adult body, right? And that's one of the signs that maybe you grew up too fast and you didn't have to. You had to enjoy your childhood to the fullest, but that opportunity never arose. So just chatting about some realities of life first thing in the morning, talking about losing your childhood really very early in life. It's not a fun feeling, but some people just life circumstances are different, and they say that if you're having fun but it becomes like a bit of a trauma trigger that makes you feel a little embarrassed or that something's wrong, causing you to work or find a problem to solve, it means this is a clear-cut hidden sign that you lost your childhood too quickly, right? And another one is that for your entire life, you've done what other people have told you to do instead of living life on your own terms. That's because आपका बचपन बहुत ही जल्दी आपसे छिन गया. You became a little impressionable. You weren't allowed to grow up to become the person you were meant to be. And now there's a little bit of people-pleasing going on. And there's a lot of other people telling you what you should do with your life. Please don't get swayed by them. That's why I keep saying that we should all see therapists in a capacity or another. It's healthy, really. Getting to know yourself is getting to know God, is what a lot of famous people have said in the past, philosophers. And I sort of kind of know that to a certain extent. Because with my anxiety, depression, and this and that, when it kicked in first, self-reflection had become absolutely key. In a good place now, thankfully, and hoping to get you guys there with me. All right, you guys, you're tuned into the breakfast show with me and Anoushey. Today we were talking about childhood traumas. A lot of children see a lot of things that they shouldn't when they're that age, and it's difficult for them to process. And it happens a lot with a lot of people in Pakistan see a lot of childhood trauma. Everywhere in the world, actually, to be honest. I wouldn't just like to pinpoint and say the problem is with Pakistan, but it's a very real issue. They say that if you're feeling lonely and desperate for connection, but you seem emotionally unavailable and push people away when they come into your life, it could be a sign that you grew up unloved as a child. That is the worst thing that can happen to a person, to not have love when you have been a child. Every child deserves love and care and affection and a safe environment. And I know we all believe that, but many of us have not gotten it ourselves, which is hard and which is sad. And then we don't show that kind of compassion to ourselves, you know what I mean? We are hard on ourselves instead of being loving to ourselves for whatever's happened to us in our own childhood. So here's kind of trying to appreciate our own selves today. I think that has become the mission of this show at this moment in time. But appreciating yourself, loving yourself, and understanding that maybe you've had a rough childhood, a difficult childhood, but you will take care of yourself. You are your best friend. And that feeling and that realization is so liberating. What does your morning look like? I hope you guys are having a good morning. Drive safe, you guys. Please make sure your seatbelts are on. Connect your infotainment, Bluetooth, whatever system, and be prepared to drive and focus on the road. I read about the accident that took place the other day. People are negligent and they're irresponsible, and there are millions of ways to make up for or to offer an explanation for what happened and why they were being negligent, which is fine. Could be true, but you do not want to be in that position, right? So be a careful driver. Make sure you are playing your part. We were talking about childhood traumas that kind of shape up when you're an adult. If you constantly feel a need to prove yourself, for instance, there again lies a lot of insecurity that may have come in to you and your life when you were a child. A lot of people feel guilty asking for help and being hyper independent, and they tend to suffer alone even when they don't have to and they don't want to. But again, this is something that happens to people who grew up too fast. They're just told to be independent, or they have to handle whatever life throws at them by themselves from a very early age. And that kind of makes you very, very scared of being dependent on others. And sometimes it's good to fall back on other people. Trust me on this. It's good to have a good support system and utilize them, which many people don't because they feel guilty. Don't do that to yourself either. August 22nd, and you and I are together, or right here on City FM 89. I am doing the show, hosting the show from Istanbul at the moment, but no matter where you are in Pakistan or abroad, I hope you're having a great start to your day. Days of the year, they keep going. Thursday, August 22nd, 2024, in many places of the world is International Burger Day. A juicy, flavorful patty nestled between soft toasted buns, adorned with melted cheese, a nice sauce, sometimes even onion. Amazing. International Burger Day, you guys. You have to celebrate it in all its glory. Today, we are all going to have at least one burger to commemorate this amazing dish in our lives. Like a burger is the most amazing thing, especially when you're really gandi wali bhook nahi kehte gandi bhook lag rahi hai. Us gandi bhook mein agar ek acha burger mil jaye, वाह वाह वाह, जिंदगी set हो जाए basically, कहने का मकसद. But what is the history of Burger Day? It was apparently established by Mr. Hyde to celebrate their favorite food and all the places that they've sampled the burger from. Now, who is this Mr. Hyde? I'm not too sure. But yeah. And the history of the burger, the hamburger, and where it came from. Let's look into that today. Alrighty, you guys, having a conversation about, childhood traumas. A lot of us feel personally offended when we're not taken seriously, or we feel like we've been ignored too many times. And it makes you feel like you're not being heard enough. And I get it. But apparently, according to psychology, that could be like childhood traumas kicking in. And not just that, if you see people as unreliable or dangerous, and you feel like, yaar, ye log theek nahi hai, you are suspicious of people. That's because बचपन में आपके साथ कोई लोगों ने ज़्यादती की है या नाइंसाफ़ी की है. And that happens a lot to our children. You feel neglected. You have to adult before your time, which was what we were initially talking about. And it's absolutely unfair and unwarranted. And then you end up having these personality quirks, and there's no explanation for it. Well, here's the explanation: that childhood traumas, the way you grew up, the household you grew up in, and the system that you grew up around really has a profound effect on the human being that you eventually become. And you've got to take it seriously. But we were also talking about it being International Burger Day. You guys, there is a debate over who actually invented the burger. Of course, some people believe that it was invented in Hamburger, Germany, to be more precise. And these days, there's really good ground beef. It's the foundation of one of the world's most popular foods. And apparently, the hamburger got its start as a hamburger steak. So, it was just like the patty. And then one day it found its way onto a bun. And it met cheese. And then it met like tomatoes. And then it has never looked back. So Burger Day, or International Burger Day, is our opportunity, or perhaps even our excuse to indulge. There's Mr. Burger, that's amazing. We get lots of nice burgers in Pakistan, actually. And that's one thing that we get easily, a nice made burger. But they say that the hamburger, the official hamburger, made its official debut at the 1904 St. Louis Food Festival. But it didn't really take off properly until there was mass commercialization of the concept in the following decades. Man, all I know is that it's International Hamburger Day, and I'm going to eat it. I'm going to get a nice hamburger. There's nothing keeping me away. Dua Lipa is celebrating her birthday today. What a fantastic artist. Really like her, but she's come under a lot of flack about perhaps not having too many original hits to her name. I don't know about that, but I do know that she's a cool artist. I really, really like her. Who else, you guys? James Corden, he's a British comic actor, writer, and television personality, was born today, August 22nd, in 1978. And there you go. And of course, what else happened in history? Let's see. I'm actually reading and seeing. The English civil wars fought between the royalists and the parliamentarians. It began when King Charles I formally raised the royal standard at Nottingham. This happened on this day in 1642, if we go back in time. And what else happened on this day? The Scream. We all know the famous painting of the Scream, which was created in 1893. It was a painting by Edvard Munch. This painting was stolen from the Munch Museum in Oslo, Norway in 2004. But it was recovered 2 years later. But art theft is like a big thing. Just reading about it, like people love stealing artifacts. Of course, it's worth a lot of money. And I guess that's one way to steal without harming another human being. But my goodness, it's interesting to read about some of the greatest art thefts in the history of the world. And you'll come across some really interesting articles. I was reading something really interesting today and wanted to share it with you guys. There was a 2010 survey which revealed that a whopping 90% of Norwegian men and 97% of Norwegian women read at least one book a year. So there was nearly half of the women read more than 10 books annually. Can you imagine? And during Easter, there were many Norwegians. They would dive into Easter crime novels, blending their love for skiing, family cabins, and crime fiction. I love crime fiction. It's a very, very fun genre. So for those of you who do not read, I think it's a good time to take some inspiration from the Norwegians and get reading into our lives as a daily habit. Trust me on this, guys. It's one of the best things to do when you want to escape all the negativity that's going around us all the time. It will be like a game changer if you find a book that you enjoy, and then you can stick to that genre long term. Alrighty, you guys, the 27th of August, I was reading you some really strange facts of the world. Another one that I have on my list. Back in 1950, there was a family cutting peat in a Danish bog, and they managed to stumble upon what they thought was a recent murder victim. Like, they found a bit of a body. They called the police, and the body turned out to be over 2,400 years old, and it was known as the Toland Man. Basically, it was a well-preserved bog body from the Iron Age, and it was so intact that this person's last meal, as well as his facial expressions, was still, tellable. Like, you could tell. It offered a rare glimpse into ancient human lives and rituals. The Toland Man, it's a very interesting story. I was reading about it the other day, and I thought that I'd share with you guys. Check it out if and when you can. Google it, and all the details are there. But imagine just stumbling upon something like this while you're just going about your daily work. Mad. All right, you guys. More news from the world of entertainment. Jennifer Lopez has filed for divorce from Ben Affleck. And this is after they signed their marriage papers back in 2022. And their romance has been ongoing since 2003. So there's been a lot of back and forth in this relationship. And, it's tragic. And I don't know what really went wrong, but there were so many rumors about the marriage ending. And I don't have much of an opinion on it, but I do know one thing, that being in the limelight, each and every one of your private details kind of make it to the news. And that is the side effect of being a celebrity. So here's wishing them all the best individually. And just hope everybody genuinely finds true happiness. But yeah, that's the news, you guys. J-Lo and Ben Affleck, Jennifer, more popularly known as, or Bennifer rather, are officially over and out. All right, you guys, still tuned into The Breakfast Show with me, Anoushey. We're here on City FM 89. There are a few things most people take a lifetime to learn. And one of them is that feeling sad after making a decision doesn't necessarily mean that it was the wrong decision. And that is a big lesson to learn. You feel bad, you feel horrible, but the decision wasn't necessarily an awful one. It was the right decision. And life doesn't have to be tiring. Wanting your life to be a certain way, but not having the confidence to make it that way is most certainly more tiring than not. So here's wishing that everybody really does have the life that they want and the life that they truly deserve. But more than that, having the ability to achieve that life. Sometimes you really just don't, and we should. You and I, we deserve to have less stress and live life more mindfully, understanding that life, even after whatever's happening in the world, life can still be beautiful. Don't stop yourself from getting there. Just a few more habits that we were discussing, just realizing that there's no opponent for you in this world. You are your only competition. And a lesson will repeat itself until you learn it. Things will keep on happening. Negative things keep on happening. Awful things happen and you're like, why is this happening to me? And I know it sounds really textbookish, but it is actually genuinely trying to teach you something. कुछ बताने की कोशिश कर रही है आपको ज़िंदगी कि कहाँ जाना है और किस तरीके से इसको सही करना है. And when you let life give you those lessons, then life becomes your best friend. It becomes kind. It becomes your friend, your ally. Your life is not your enemy. Your life is your friend. Your life wants to be good to you, kind to you. And living it with awareness would be everything. Yep, that's going to be the advice for today. Meanwhile, all right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. It is always such a pleasure. Have a strong mindset. Don't waste time feeling sorry for yourself this morning. Get up and be like, I've got this. I just want to appreciate you guys for tuning in like you do. And it's pretty cool. Embracing change, welcoming challenges, stay happy. Don't waste energy on things you and I cannot control, right? And it's okay to be a bit of a lone wolf, you know. You should spend some time alone, enjoy your own company. And it's a good way to self-reflect. अगर आप अपनी कंपनी में ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं गुजार सकते या आपको शायद मज़ा नहीं आ रहा है, there could be something wrong with the given situation. So ask yourself that for sure. Meanwhile, I'm wishing you all the very best. I hope you have a fantastic start to your morning. And I'm going to leave you with the promise that we will see you back on air tomorrow. Take care, you guys. Have a great start to your Thursday morning.